Guys, just a friendly reminder that we are just 1 week away from the full-blown conversion of Popcorn Culture, the video segment, over to the Popcorn Culture YouTube channel from the existing SuperCarlinBrothers channel.
That's right. If you want to make sure you continue to catch the video version of the pop, head over to youtube.com/apopcast. That is the official Popcorn Culture YouTube page. Just hit the subscribe button. Ding the bell. That way you'll continue to get it in your feed. Ben and I will still continue to chat in the premieres with you every week. It'll just be on a different channel. And if you're listening to this on the audio, then nothing changes at all. You're good.
You're good. You're good. Otherwise, guys, thank you for subscribing. What's poppin', everybody? Hello and welcome to Popcorn Culture. My name is Ben Carlin and I am your host. Here with me today is my brother Jay, who will be in every episode.
I'm here, Ben. I'm here, and it's a miracle I'm here, Ben, because I gotta tell you, it feels like everyone in my house has just continued to be sick for the whole week.
Everybody else caught sponges?
Just well, Beth so far. Let's knock on wood. No sponges. And I would say, I didn't quite catch sponges myself.
Okay.
But dare I say, it seems that the sponges continue to get weaker and weaker by the person they get passed on to. So like Nick and Nate had sponges plus fever. Luke, just sponges. Daddy, just super tired, everything hurts.
Oh yeah, I know that one.
Yeah,
I know that one.
Yeah.
Goodness me. Okay, well I'm glad that you're at least better. You seem better.
I hope so.
We are currently preparing for our trip to our good buddy Michael's.
I know.
I never call him Michael. our good buddy Mike's wedding week, starting this upcoming Friday, which I'm so excited about.
Same.
However, all of this ailment that has been circling you guys, there's a small part of me, not that I ever wanted you to be sick, that is glad that it's happening before we venture off into those waters.
It seems like whenever someone gets married, just like the sickness is like circling around. Like with you guys, like we made it through the wedding, everything good. Day later, dead.
I know, and it was so sad.
I know.
It was so sad. We had signed up for the we were in Disney and we had signed up for like the lightsaber build day.
We were gonna build lightsabers.
It was gonna be so great, and our whole family was doing it together. We all had the same appointment. It was gonna be perfect. And literally I remember waking up, I think it was like, let's say it was at 10 a.m. that morning. I remember waking up and it was like 4 a.m. and I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna rally by 10. And then it was like 6 and I'm like, I'm coming around. I will be better by 10. And then it was like, I think it was like 9:37 and I was like, somehow I'm still gonna make it. Yeah. You know, I'm still in my room in my pajamas,
gonna rally.
But I will get there in 23 minutes.
It is crazy to me sometimes how powerful the rationalization in your brain can be sometimes. Like, I know, I remember that exact feeling. It was like, the appointment was at 10 or something, and it was like, I'm not feeling so good at 7. Why don't you guys go on to the park? I think maybe I just need another hour to rally. It's like, never mind. You were out for another 7 days.
Right. You thought you were 1 hour away from recovery. False. You were 7 days.
It is amazing to me how badly wanting to do something can trick your mind into being like, it's not that bad. You know, it's not that bad.
It's hilarious though, because I also felt like as a kid, it was the exact opposite, where it was kind of like, if you were sick, then there was sort of like that ability, like not ability, but like sometimes you get to stay home from school. And that was sometimes nice. And so I feel like as a kid, you're exactly right. It's like versus like when you want to do something, it's like as a kid, it's like, this light cough that I have, it's pretty bad. It's pretty.
You can like make things way worse. Like, oh boy, I don't know if I could. I got the black lung paw. I can't make it to school.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, compare that with the upcoming Friday evening where everybody's going to Chuck E. Cheese. Where for free token night.
You could have thrown up like 30 minutes beforehand. You're like, I'm good. I am fine.
I don't know, Mom. You're being a little overly cautious.
Ridiculous. Oh my God. I experienced this just this week because I said like I was like had this sort of just achy all overness on Saturday, and I woke up and I was like, maybe I should just have some like light toast for breakfast. I'll just sort of see how I'm doing here. And I could sort of feel, Beth kept trying to like get me to say how I was feeling, like, what's wrong? And I kept just like, I felt so weird. It's like, I don't know if I have the words. It's just sort of like I need to put my head on the table and my face feels like frowning. Does that help you? You don't understand what's feeling bad?
The ailment of frowning.
The ailment of I don't feel good. Okay? You're like, yes, I understand. Could you describe it?
No.
I don't think so. I don't want to eat more, but do you feel nauseous? No. You sound unsure. Yes.
So you're nauseous.
So anyway, again though, I had something. Forever I've been like staring at this particular date on the calendar this past Saturday of like the lone free. This is like our one free weekend in like a sea of busy weekends this summer.
Oh yeah.
And it had so timed out that I was like, this is when I'm gonna go and try and play the Pokemon trading card game at our local card shop. And I was like, I've been staring at this one weekend. I'm like, I'm gonna go. This is it. And it has been, and as you all know, I already actually managed to try and go last weekend with miserable failure where not enough people showed up for people to play. And now here I am, and I'm like, it's probably going to be the same. Probably enough people aren't going to show up, and I don't even feel good. Or maybe I don't feel good. I can't even describe what's wrong, so I'm probably okay. I can go. I can rally. It's fine. I'm going.
Did you go?
I did go, and once again, not enough people showed up. I cannot tell you how frustrating it is. And it was so weird because the moment then I got home, it was like all the hope, all the resilience my brain had built up against it's like, you don't feel bad. You're good. You can do this. The moment like there was like, oh, the thing you want, not actually possible. My body was just like, forget it. You feel bad.
Oh yeah.
It was like the crash was immediate.
Time to tank.
I was like, and then of course, yeah. So that I cannot tell you how frustrating it is though, Ben, because I feel like we've been getting so into the Pokemon trading card game lately. We've bought in so many cards, and I'm like so excited to go play in person with people, and like I can't.
It does seem like it is almost like comically eluding you.
It's
like because the other thing too about it is that this is almost one of those hobbies that I think that you've sort of like maybe had like a little sequestered to yourself, like there weren't as much going on. But like I've gotten into it. Our good buddy Steven has gotten into it.
Yeah.
Like you've got a couple of your other friends. Like there's like a small group of us that are like all into it, and it still feels like it's just not coming up spades for you.
It feels like, the enthusiasm is very directly centered. Like there is enthusiasm around me, but like at the public level, it's just like, where are the people? Where are the people? Like, this is not an unpopular game. I don't understand.
Maybe you should work with the local card shop to set up some kind of come face off with the champion.
Oh, just like self-declare myself.
Yeah, the champion.
Be like, yeah, here you go. Just play again. See if anyone can beat me. Throw down, yo. And it's just all a ploy so I can play card games with people.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, like I almost feel like there'd have to be a situation where what happens is there's a tournament and the winner of the tournament plays you.
Exactly.
Yeah. That way you don't have to like go and demonstrate your chops. Everybody can just assume that you're the champion. And then whoever wins the tournament, if they beat you, it's like, well, that guy was good.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, that's how they won.
Yeah. That's actually the very prize in the first season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Like the champion gets the then duel Pegasus, the creator of the card game, which is such a contrived tournament. Pegasus's whole reason for running the tournament is so he can duel Yugi, who he's confident will just win his way to the top anyway, because only by playing against him in a game can they barter their Millennium objects so he can try and bring back his dead wife, which is just like, why'd you have to stage the tournament? You already kidnapped his grandfather. There's already stakes on the line. He'll duel you no matter what, dude. Anyway.
All I'm hearing is that I should be allowed to write the script for a trading card animated show.
Ben, I'm all for it. It sounds amazing to me. I'd help you write it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Because I didn't understand anything else you said. So I'll probably need someone who understands the technical side. But what I have is I'm kind of the big picture guy.
Yeah.
You know, you're small picture.
Right.
And I'm big picture.
Exactly.
And that way we know what we're going towards.
Exactly.
You can make it make sense.
I'll make the duels themselves make sense. The matches, what happens I got that. It'll be interesting. They'll be like, no way. Everyone got all their biggest moves off and the heroes still won, but we got to see what the bad guy was capable of.
Exactly.
Exactly.
It's going to be good
stuff. It doesn't
stuff.
really matter because you sort of know where it's going.
Would we invent our own trading card game, or would we try to convince an existing trading card game to let us take over theirs? Because I mean, okay, I'm on a tangent. It's in the same exact conversation, but are Pokemon living creatures?
Oh my gosh, this very question floats across the front of my mind all the time. Like certainly.
Let me offer something.
Okay.
Let me say something. Because, so when you're, for one, it seems cruel, slightly, I'm not even slightly, like, to have these animals fighting each other. But, like, when you're watching the TV show that is Yu-Gi-Oh!, it's like, it's very, very, very obviously, projectors or
holograms.
Holograms is the word I was looking for. So you're in front of this big arena, and then before you are all of the creatures, so as they're doing their battle and stuff, you understand that it's more of like a visual display of the cards being played. But then the Pokemon, they seem like they exist in the wild until you capture them and they turn into red light and live inside of a small ball that you can then carry around with you. And do you need to feed them while they're inside of the ball? Are they alive while they're inside of the ball? What is this world where these I don't know.
It is so weird. It seems like even across the different mediums in which you consume Pokemon, it can be different.
Okay.
Like in the show, you're right. They just turn into the red light. They go into the Pokeball. That's it. And then they do get them out and they do feed them, which is fine. They can be retracted via the red light or whatever. But then in the actual games themselves, you can just store your Pokemon in a computer, which is kind of weird. Yeah. And then in
But you found them in grass.
But you found them in grass, and then they can be stored in digital forms. So to me, here's how I interpret it.
Okay.
Is that no matter what you're watching, even if you read the manga, there's sometimes a hold of the Pokeball, and inside you can just see a really tiny version of the Pokemon inside the Pokeball, just shrunk down or something.
Okay.
Which is sort of weird too. So lots of different interpretations of it. It doesn't seem like they have a clear answer. But here's how I interpret it, is that the games themselves are the highest form of canon. Okay. Like the Harry Potter books. Things can happen in the movies, and maybe they count, maybe they don't. But if it happened in the book, it's legit.
It counts. Okay,
I'm good with that. The games are the highest form of canon. And because in the games, you store them in a PC, to me, there is a certain, digitalness to them at all times. Even though there's it's almost like an artificial intelligence of sorts.
Well, see, that's what I was going to say. Is there any chance that the Pokeverse is the Matrix, it is a simulation?
That would honestly make me even feel better. Then you could have them exist basically as living creatures, but not.
Yeah.
Because you do have then Pokemon like Arceus, which is sort of the god of Pokemon.
Okay.
It's the creator of all things. Then you have Palkia and Dialga, which are the Pokemon of space and time, and they created space and time, and it's okay. And then you have, so it seems like they have really big concept Pokemon.
Sure.
That are the entities of entire forces of nature or something. It's that feels like it has to be real in some way, because they literally shaped the planet, but then also they can be stored digitally, which cannot be ignored.
Right. And yes, exactly. And so, I mean, again, it makes me think that what makes the most sense is that you are able to enter into this world.
The whole world is digital.
Yeah. So even the trainers are digital, but part of their perception of participating in this world is thinking that they're a layer above the Pokemon themselves. But when it really came down to it, it's really just programming that prevents the trainers themselves from being able to be captured in a Pokeball. They're not fundamentally any different. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I see exactly what you mean.
Yeah. This might be, I'll have to do some more research to see how well it holds up. Yeah. But this could be my headcanon for it.
Okay. Yeah. It's the Pokemon world is basically the Matrix, and the human characters are just avatars who have been plugged into the Matrix and are now living in that world.
They're now living in that world, yeah.
And everything in that world acts as if it is a completely real living creature, because it's an artificial world.
Yes.
Yeah. And in many ways, that's exactly what's happening anyway, because instead of just having a giant needle plugged into the back of your head, you're just turning on your Nintendo Switch.
True.
Yeah.
True. So it's kind of funny though, because the games themselves, like you as a person living out here in the real world is escaping into this digital game that is fun, but the characters in the game don't even know that they're characters inside of the Matrix, because they are then capturing even further than them the Pokemon themselves, who they believe to have like a greater layer of existence over.
Yeah.
Wow. Very mind-bending stuff.
You know what's really, whenever VR gets like extreme, like on the Ready Player One level of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like whenever the Pokemon version of that, like whenever Pokemon creates their VR game, that's going to be the thing. Then you can literally just do it.
Okay, so in like Ready Player One, in case anybody's unfamiliar with the concept, it's basically a world that would it be safe to say has like maybe out in the real world kind of fallen to ruins a little bit?
It's a dystopian future.
Okay.
Yeah.
But so the idea here is that technology is so advanced that you can wear like these haptic suits and then quite literally just go and spend all day every day existing inside of
the Oasis,
as it were. And it seems like for many people, it's like I wake up, I feed my like biological body so that like I can continue to exist inside of the Oasis, which is like my preferred existence.
Yeah.
And that gets really, really trippy real fast.
It's really depressing really fast. But yeah, it's like the world has gotten so bad that everyone just escapes into the game every day to live in a much nicer place. And then because everyone's doing that, the real world just continues to get worse because
nobody's out there like repairing it.
No one's actually repairing it or caring or doing anything. It's just everything. And it's like money matters more inside the game than it does in the real world because that's where everyone is then and stuff like that. So it's like power then in the game is more like power in real life. And that's basically what the book is about.
Right. Yeah. Yes, is like by achieving, because I mean, and we've talked about this before too, but like the perceived value of like a currency, like a dollar bill has value because we give it value.
Yeah.
So in the same way, this is almost like by being a high achieving person inside of the Oasis, it's like you're well known because of that.
Oh, it's crazy. Like in the book, if you haven't read it, I would totally recommend reading it. It's a very good read and very easy. A very good listen to. It's read by Will Wheaton, which is fun because he's also like an Easter egg inside the book, but that's not besides the point. But like in the book, like Wade, the main character, is able to like spend his in-game money to order like real life pizza.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like he can go to a pizza place inside the Oasis, which loads up menus from local pizza places to his actual physical location in the real world.
Right.
And then he can order something there, and in real life, probably not even person, in this case, like a robot, delivers the pizza to his actual home address, even though he's just playing the game. And the money he spent was not real money, it was in-game currency.
It's like cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it's like cryptocurrency has taken on, and so it's very crazy. Like even like they're trying to like bribe each other with stuff, and it's like with in-game credits.
Right.
You know, but for real world stakes.
Do you think that sports in any way could be like a analog precursor to this very idea?
Sports could be an analog precursor.
Like so the idea being like, it's like, oh, like you might be able to like enter the Oasis, the game, and by being good inside of the game, you gain real outside of the game, like clout, power, like wealth. And in a lot of ways, you know, it's like professional athletes become exactly that. They're extremely high paid people. Like, you know, it's like they have taken playing a game so far that they are now like heightened, you know, in society. They are extremely well compensated.
I dare say Ready Player One takes it a step further though.
Okay.
Because they do that. Well, one, they have sports inside they have like regular football inside the Oasis.
Okay.
Which is weird, but that's besides the point. It's not that getting like you're right. Like even within the Oasis, someone could just be really good at accumulating credits and become well-known and wealthy for that. But their fame exists more inside the Oasis than it does in the real world. For being good at the game.
Okay.
But the way it's taking me a step further is that is more important.
Yes.
Right? Like, it's like, oh, It's like, oh, what's the point if you're not even famous in real life? It's like, because the world is at a state where it's more important to be famous in the game than in real life.
Right, than in real life. Well, and again, though, I feel like I could, circle back to the exact same conversation. Would be like, prior to professional sports being how we know them today, it very well could have been the case that, and I don't know the exact history of what the pay scale has been like in the arena of professional sports, or if they've always been things that people have like heavily flocked to, but like, I wonder if at any point in time it could have been the case where it was like, well, I want to go and play baseball for a living. It's like, but we need you in the mine, and it's like, what are you doing over there playing this silly game when you have a real career over there in the mine?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, but then it has like quite literally progressed past like it is now a better career option than the mine. Like, it almost feels comical to compare those things.
It does, yeah. Like, no one would choose to go work in a mine over being a professional Major League Baseball player.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But like, it doesn't seem like always it could have been the case that by being a professional, like even playing a sport at the top tier, maybe even before there was like Major League Baseball, the organization.
Yeah.
It's like, what kind of pay would you have been getting at that point in time? Or would you just be also playing, air quotes, professional sport in addition to having a career?
Right. That's like minor league sports, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
If you go see our local Salem Red Sox, I don't think those guys I don't think that's their full-time job.
I don't think it's their full-time job.
Or not all of them anyway.
Right. That would be something to dig into. Like understanding a little bit better, like, what is it like? Because that has got to be, even in like high school sports, college sports, like the amount of commitment of your time that goes into being at practice, being at games, like traveling to wherever to compete.
It has to feel like everything else is just kind of unimportant. Like, or because like one, it feels like it'd be hard for, like, if you just had a regular office job where you like reported to a manager during the day, but then were playing baseball in a semi-professional capacity in front of crowds 2 or 3 times a night plus practice, it would just feel like your day job was so, what's the point?
Yeah.
Or I could see it feeling the other way around. Like, if you're not making as much money there, feeling like, well, like, is it worth putting myself through so much stress and like physical endurance when it's not even my main job?
Right. Yeah. Or is that just the dream?
Is that the love of the game?
Yeah, exactly. Which actually is kind of interesting. Hang on one second. Okay. We've got a note here from Scott Smith, who wrote into the email.
Okay. Who
was asking questions about this very thing. He was like, what does it mean to follow your dreams? And how do you know what your dream even is? And it's sort of interesting. I mean, I feel like people have amended this over time to kind of be like, what is your daydream? Like, chase your daydream.
Okay.
Because I don't know about you, but like my dreams, if I were to chase those, that would be just so obscure. Like,
yeah,
there is no consistency to it, for one, and they are not things I would aspire.
You mean like your dreams at night?
My dreams at night.
Okay.
My actual sleeping dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think this is a fair question, because I myself, going through school, like, I think that, like, I was a middle school student. I knew a middle school student, and I knew after middle school there was high school, and I knew after high school I was going to go to college.
Yeah.
And like after college, I just sort of assumed like there would be a job, and I would go and do that job. But for me, it was never like, I didn't ever know, or I was never exposed to something where I was like, this is what I want to do. Like,
right.
I want to go and like earn education, because every morsel of like fact I can pack into my brain is going to make
how to do that thing.
Yes, will make me better at this. And like, that is what I want, is experts who I can ask questions to so I can get better at this. And this is so not the mentality that I had at any point in time going to school. Like,
well, I remember that exact thought. People were like, all right, you got to start thinking about what kind of career you want to take, or what's your career path going to be, or like, what do you want to do? Like, that's the constant question you get. Like, what do you want to do when you grow up?
Right.
Or whatever. Right. And it's just like, because you were like told you should have a very specific kind of dream when you're growing up. Especially, I don't know. That's how it was here. Maybe your experience differs. But it was like, this is, you need to have a goal along these lines, which is like, find a career you're interested in and go. And it was like, I either just was, same thing. Like I wasn't necessarily like exposed to the things I wanted, or no one even like, I feel like everyone tells you that. And then I also felt like everyone is extremely hesitant to make any suggestions for you at all.
Like as to what you might
should do or something.
Well, and that's part of it too. Yeah. Like I've talked a little bit about this in the past, but I just don't think that as like a 15, 16, 17-year-old kid, I really I don't think I had enough scope to understand like where I might have been good at something, but like not knowing it, because if you're good at something, even naturally, a lot of times you don't realize that it's even hard for other people.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that was how it was even just getting into like the kind of stuff we talk about on the channel now. Like, you know, when we started talking about Pixar or Disney or something, part of me was just so hesitant to like, well, like everyone just knows all this stuff.
Right.
Like, I mean, we all watched these movies growing up. Everyone's this aware of the Easter eggs in Pixar, and you know, like that was my experience. It was probably most people's experience for the most part.
Right.
But turns out that was not true.
Right. Yeah. No. And all of a sudden, or it's maybe like a combination of other things as well. Like, because we host trivia on the Super Carlin Brothers channel very frequently, where we're throwing out really tough questions to anybody who wants to be able to tune into that stream. And the people out there are great. Like, they are so smart. They're so sharp. They know all of the fandoms extremely well. But like, maybe this is where you're underestimating a little bit of like the other skills that we had growing up. Or it's like, again, like our dad was like this TV news anchor. So it's like, were we absorbing a lot more of what it was like to be like speaking in front of people than we realized? Because this is something that like we probably would have witnessed just about every weekend of our childhood, was our dad like emceeing an event or going and talking or whatever.
It just seemed like a normal part of our existence.
Right.
Or I remember, this was sort of a weird, I think, like thing that maybe made this a little clearer to me once upon a time, was we were at VidCon one year, and we had a talent manager at the time who we don't anymore, but we were just like walking from like the conference center to like a hotel lobby to just go have like a quick meeting or something.
Yep.
And we got stopped like 2 or 3 times along the way from people who recognized us. And we're like, oh my God, are you the Carlin brothers? And we're like, oh yeah, we'll take a picture and, talk to them for a second. And we did it. And after like the 3rd time, like he just stopped us and was like, how are you guys doing? Like, how are you doing this? Like, and we're like, what do you mean? And he's just like, I manage a lot of different people, and I've been with them for 100 of these encounters, and you're getting a good chat, a good interaction, a picture, and you're like sending them on their way in like under a minute, and like everyone else gets stuck.
Oh, sure.
Like, you know what I mean? Do you remember that exchange?
I do remember this exchange now. At first I was like, hold on, where are we going with this? I do remember that. And it is, it's like, it's so difficult because a lot of times you don't know the things that you're good at. And this is what I'm saying, because because you're good at them, because you don't struggle with them. But then it's also the not knowing, like nobody has pointed it out to you enough to where you are like, hey, like this thing that you can do, like this is remarkable. People can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like this is a great thing if you want to chase.
Yeah.
And I think that, growing up, this was something that like, you would go and sit down with your guidance counselor before you would, I think in 11th grade, junior year, and you would sit down with them and they would be like, well, where do you want to go to college? And what do you want to do? And it's like, is there any way for you to tell me? Like, is there any way, like, this is only the 2nd time I've ever talked to you. Like this, I've never even been in this office before.
How am I supposed to know?
Right. It's like, if you're supposed to be, and I know that this is putting too much pressure on this person who obviously oversees many, many hundreds of students. Like that's not what I'm saying. It's not like a frustration with how this person did their job. Like, it's just, what would have been really great for me is someone who could stand back, watch me go through these stages and be like, hey, like, you might not know this, but you're really good at this thing. And that might be something, that skill would fit very nicely with this career, which you might not know.
Yeah.
And if we can take this thing that you can do and apply it in a really productive way, then you might be able to achieve a lot more than you realize, because you don't realize that one of your greatest skills is
a skill at all.
Is a skill at all.
Right.
And I think, yeah, like this is, I've had people talk to me, or even Ethan, the editor, who, edits the pop, he was in high school, I think 3 or 4 years behind me.
Yeah.
And I've talked to him before about like me in high school, and his perception of me is like eons away from what my perception of myself is or was.
Right.
And it's like, dude, if I had half of the confidence in high school that you thought that I did, I feel like I would have been unstoppable.
Right.
Like, I mean, it makes me like, I am so flattered that you're saying these things. And I'm so happy to know that that this is maybe the way that I was perceived, but I can also tell you, I genuinely did not know.
Right.
Yeah,
you're like, this is news to me.
Right.
Like, I wish I'd known.
Right. Yeah. Like, how much more would you have thought you could tackle if that was the case? And then on that same token, though, is walking that fine line between, again, arrogance, cockiness, and confidence. Mm-hmm. And how do you like blend those pieces of the puzzle together so that you can feel self-assured and ready to take on the world without over assuming your own abilities. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's probably what many of us do out there in the world, is under assume our own abilities.
I definitely think that is what many people do. Or if you're not living that lifestyle, let me know how you are not living that lifestyle, because I definitely think, I know that's my experience as well, that I think I underassume my own abilities.
Well, so yeah, we might be able to do a nice transition here. But so the other question too is like, should you be more forward with people about like...
I'm glad you're making this transition, because I was thinking the same thing. We were talking last week about a character that exudes confidence but not arrogance. And Ben, there's a brand new TV show back on the... Not brand new, it's back for season 2.
Ted Lasso.
Ted Lasso! The man, the myth, the legend.
Amazing.
If you haven't watched Ted Lasso, please go watch season 1 and the first 2 episodes of season 2, which, well, probably three episodes as of recording. Only the first 2 episodes of season 2 are out. But Ben and I freaking love this show.
I mean, I do not think it's a leap to say that it literally changed my life.
I mean, I think, it's like the landscape of popular TV out there right now is very gloomy. It's very pessimistic. And it's just this like shining bright spot of like, oh my God, is this a show about like positivity and hope and like just
believing?
Yeah. Believe. It's in the bleachers.
It is in the bleachers.
And above the door.
So the really interesting evolution of this character of Ted Lasso, and it seems like as we're entering into season 2, and I don't think that this is like overly spoilery, but if you are deeply concerned, then maybe real mild spoilers for Ted Lasso, season 2, episodes 1 and 2, is I think that like what season 1 is a lot about this character who just exudes positivity.
Yeah.
And I think that like when a lot of people meet somebody like this, they're largely taken aback by it. They think that a trick is being played on them. They think that like there is some type of underlying motivation or intention. Right. And I think that like it's almost odd how abrasive Ted's positivity seems to be to many of these people.
Right.
At first,
because they assume the worst. Like this is all. Yeah, you're right. Like there's an agenda behind it.
Yes. Yeah. It's like, why are you being so chipper? What are you trying to sell me? And it's like nothing. I'm just great to see you today. I'm so glad you're here.
That's what's like the hard pill to swallow at first. I think. Yeah. Is that like I think that's almost the main, like the commentary is that it is so sad that you can't meet someone like that and not just be like, what a great person. Like, it's like this person is only trying to bring out the best in others. Like that's his, that's like his goal. I mean, as a coach, that's what he's trying to do for his players, but it's also what he's trying to do with just everyone in his life.
Yes.
Just everyone he meets, he just wants to have like a good connection with and to try and like bring out the best in them. And it's like, it's so hard to believe that could be what anyone wants.
Right.
But it's so refreshing when you like realize it's possible.
Right. It's possible. And so it's really quick and easy, I think, with it to be like, oh, it's a show about like the power of positive thinking and that type of thing, which I don't even really, I think it's more the power of a positive attitude and the impact of so many of these like incredibly pleasant touches that happen throughout his day, and then how those pleasant touches might permeate to all of the other people. You know, like if you're just super friendly to the person at the bakery in the morning, the person who serves you your coffee, and like you give them like that positive moment, like what if they then give it to the next customer?
Yeah.
Because they were like, it's a good, like that guy was so nice.
Yeah.
You know, like, and then it carries.
And you can see that at least at the start of season 2, which picks up like midway through the whatever soccer season they're on. It's not real. The soccer itself is not really super important to the plot.
It's right.
Sort of what moves it forward week to week, but like, whatever. But you can see that Ted's influence over the staff at the stadium and the players on the team has been tremendous from where it was in season 1, where like everyone's just sort of like open to like hearing from other people. They're all very like empathic listeners. They always like try to understand where people are coming from in like a very like, and they write it in a very natural way.
Yeah,
I feel like it, but it comes across really well. Like everyone's really concerned about the other people simply for their own, like hoping the other person's living like their best life.
Yes.
But there is a weird not contrast. They introduce, I can't tell if this is going to be like more what the season is about or something. It seemed like the whole first season was sort of like a little bit about, I don't know, like forgiveness maybe, which we've talked about before.
Yep.
But so you have, in the first episode alone, I think 3 different examples of characters being extremely blunt with each other. Like one character who's like an ex, member of the team now. He's sort of just known for being, like a rude cuss or whatever.
Yeah.
And doing a lot of cussing. His little niece or whatever is keeping track. It's like in the thousands or something.
Right. So like every time he says like a cuss word in front of his niece, she writes down like a thing in her ledger, and he owes her like $1,200.
Yeah, like $1 per cuss or something.
Yes.
So it's very funny. But he's like a very rude person, and he like is just like, very, very rude and straightforward to, another character in the show about like who she's dating.
Yep.
And just like tells her how it is. And it's like, that was extremely blunt, maybe a little too far, but it's effective. And she like listens to him and like makes a decision based on that advice.
Well, and so I love that. So the particular example, so we're dealing with a character who is incredibly blunt. Like this is the way that he communicates with things. And he's not like, he's not going to be subtle about anything. It's going to be very loud, very direct, whatever. And it's interesting because he goes on a double date with one of the other characters, and like at the end of it, she's like, well, what did you think of the guy? Like, and he's like, he's fine. Like, but you are better than fine. Like this, why are you dating this guy? Like you can do better than this, and it's so out loud, and how many moments have there been in your life where one of your friends introduced that like a significant other or something, and you're just like, no, like, but at the end of the night, what do you say? They were great. I'm so glad. I'm so happy for you guys.
Yeah.
I really think it's going to work out. And it's like, what is better? It's like, it's like, would it be better at the end of that night to be like, honestly,
there's nothing wrong with them.
Right. I just don't see the chemistry, know, or like, I just don't see the lifestyle, like meeting up because there is the want to be supportive. But I think the underlying belief for so many people is that being supportive is telling the person what they want to hear,
right, versus
telling the person what they need to hear.
Oh, that I think you're right. That I think is going to be the message, what you want to hear versus what you need to hear. But there's another character who's like he's like new on the team, but he's from another country. I forget where they say he's from, but he's just like very direct with the other players, and they're like, oh no, he's not being rude, he's just being from his country.
Right.
Yeah. And then they also bring in a therapist who seems like they're going to be like a big character this season. And her way of dealing with things is also very direct, and they have a character who's going through the yips, as it were.
Yeah.
And they're all like very afraid. They're very superstitious about it. They're like dancing around it. They're specifically not addressing it directly.
Yes.
And she comes in and she's like, there's no reason to avoid this topic. It's a very real issue that professional athletes deal with. let me sit down with this guy.
Right.
And you're like, wow, that was direct. And like, if you know about like the yips or whatever, it's like a very superstitious thing in sports. Or I guess maybe it's not. Maybe it's a real thing. Or it is a real thing. Sorry.
Yes, yeah. So it's psychologically, it is a real thing. But basically, a lot of people probably attribute it to superstition,
right,
or like a sense of overconfidence, or like you messed up like one thing and then you just can't get it back.
I think the superstition is that if you mention it, it will come true.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
But so anyway, yeah, like Ted tries to work on this player's attitude, or tries to help him overcome the yips by, being positive and giving him a couple quippy one-liners, like he approaches everything, and it doesn't really work. And then the guy sits down and has actual therapy with the therapist.
Yeah.
And walks out. He's like amazing. He's great and better.
Yeah.
And it's this weird contrast because Ted has clearly been an enormous positive impact on the staff here. And yet there's this like new way of thinking, or this other way of communicating that is pervasive, like making its way into the show, that is in direct contrast with how Ted approaches things. Because Ted speaks almost exclusively like in metaphors and by examples.
Yes.
And like, I almost noticed it, like they almost did it like to a fault in the first episode. I was like, man, they're almost like forcing it. But then by the end of the episode, I was like, that's sort of the point. I see what they're doing.
Right.
But, yeah.
Right. Yes. And I think that like that, yeah, what Ted tends to do is take a potentially stressful situation, something that could have been traumatic to a player, a coworker, whatever the case may be. And he's going to try to give you like almost like an adorable, relatable example of this thing, like the metaphor. And almost always it's like, okay, like I was able to just make the problem like solvable sized.
Yeah.
And because of that, like I can now move on. And so now I think what we're seeing is a couple of different things with this show, which I think it's very, very interesting. And again, like in terms of how, like I said, Ted Lasso, I think kind of changed my life in a way. And I think it's because for me, my whole life, like even in high school and stuff, I would walk down the halls and I would give a high five to every single person I passed.
Mm-hmm.
It would be like, and I feel like there are these like stereotypical scenes from like, I don't know, high school movies where you've got like that person who's like, hey, see you in math, like, ba-da-da. But like, I literally did that. You know, it was just like, it was just every single person I saw, I was like, how are you today, man? Great to see you. Anything new?
Yeah.
And similarly here, I think at the office, it's like, I walk into the office in the morning. The first thing is it's always like, like, good morning. Like,
yeah.
Like, how was everybody?
How was everyone? What did you do last night?
Exactly. So, but you've got like all this positivity that's going out there. But I feel like maybe what we're seeing with this character is that like, while he's able to project a lot of this positivity out there, it's almost like it's his coping mechanism.
Right.
So what he's doing is he's using this like extremely exuberant positivity to not address things directly
that are serious. Yeah.
But it's odd because it's almost like he's had a positive impact very visibly on every single person around him.
Right.
But it almost feels like he himself is like kind of struggling because of it.
And that does a little bit come to a head in the first season.
Yeah.
Where it's like, clearly he's like projecting all this positivity out, but then he's also got some like internal demons, like with his divorce and stuff, and that's really affecting him in a very negative way.
Right.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see how it manifests in the second season. But I am very curious. I think the second season is off to an amazing start already. No sophomore slump, just crushing it. Definitely check out Ted Lasso if you haven't yet.
Perfect. Transition. We're on to a new topic.
What?
Because we're not very good at always seamlessly segueing. Sometimes we're great at it.
Sometimes.
Other times we're less good at it.
Yeah.
So so I spent the past weekend, I drove to and from DC in back-to-back days, basically. So I spent, like 8-9 hours.
Oh yeah,
driving.
I've been there. That drive to and from DC, all right.
Yeah.
Whoosh, no fun.
It's
It's just a little bit further than you want it to be.
It is.
Yeah, Beth used to live in DC for like a year, and I would have to get off work on Friday at 5, drive the 4.5 hours to DC, get there like 9:30 or 10. It's basically time to go to sleep.
Yep.
Then Sunday, stay there as long as possible because like I gotta make the most out of this trip. I'm only here for a long, short time. Then you leave at like 2 or 3 o'clock on Sunday, get home, time to go to sleep, and then you're back at work.
You're back at work.
Yeah,
it's
a long drive.
It's kind of like going to like Disney on vacation.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're so excited for like time away from like work and get to go and do fun stuff for several days.
Yeah.
And then you get home from Disney and you realize that you walked like 22,000 steps a day and you're just flat out exhausted.
Exactly. It's like, but you know what? You're gonna have to do that drive again so soon. You're there for such a short amount of time. You better cram it in.
Exactly.
Exactly. So what'd you do?
So, okay. For me, like I spend a lot of time when I'm on the road just thinking, you know?
Are you okay? I mean, do you like you're just sitting there like in complete silence, like no radio on, no music?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, on my frequent visits to Beth at our what felt like never-ending long-distance relationship that was college and shortly after, there were many a drive where I would be driving to see her, and she would actually every year she would buy me a new like Harry Potter.
Wow. Hashtag Harry Potty.
Harry Potty, boy, no one wants a Harry Potty, I'll tell you.
Oh yeah, not at all, not at all,
not one bit. No, you do not. Harry Potter books on CD, and solely for the purpose of giving me something to listen to whilst I drove to and from JMU.
Yeah, I feel like it's kind of an unfair advantage given what we do now.
Yeah. Well, I feel like it just set the stage, you know? Who knew what a role it would play?
And I feel like you knew.
I don't think I knew. I always liked Harry Potter, and it was like a great excuse to just veg out and listen to it. But sometimes I would listen to Harry Potter. A lot of times I would listen to like stand-up comedians. I had so many CDs of just stand-up comedians.
Yeah.
Which are a weird thing to have. I feel like it's a weird thing for CDs because it's the same routine over and over, obviously.
It's true,
like you just start to expect it. But anyway, I listen to a lot of comedians that way. And then sometimes, very rarely would I listen to just music the whole way.
Okay.
But there was the occasional drive where I would just get in the car and I would sit in silence and just think the whole time. And
wait, so this was a unique thing for you to do?
Not entirely. I mean, sometimes I'm just saying there were different things I did. And sometimes it would be, and I get there and Beth would be like, "What'd you listen to?" I was like, "Nothing."
My thoughts.
My thoughts.
Yes. Okay. Well, so that's me. So like usually when I'm on the road, if I was by myself, I probably would listen to like an audiobook or something like that. But usually the issue is that I find myself that I'm like halfway through a book and Alice hasn't read the book. And so it's like, you know, I can't really like turn it on while she's in the car because I don't want to listen to it, whatever. So basically just like, you know, cruising along for hours on end, like just thinking to myself. And this usually means that I have like many thought spirals and, you know, I go down like big long lines. And then usually I feel like I need to like decompress when I get there because I'm like, I need to like ask somebody, was this like a groundbreaking thought or was this not? So my question.
Am I the person you're asking now?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Buckle up.
All right.
So, this is me asking a question. This is not me asserting, just for the FY-izzles.
Okay.
But we talked for a good long stretch here on the pop about the idea of forgiveness and like the importance of it, the complexities of getting there, what it can feel like, all of that type of stuff, like why you might want to do it. And so on the flip end of that yesterday, I was thinking about the idea of blame and whether or not there is like too much of it like in our world, specifically because I feel like we were talking about like with therapy and stuff like that, there's typically like a lot of things that anybody who has gone through a stretch of life hard stop probably could go and unpack in some capacity. You know, there are probably ways in which you might react to having a certain amount of, you know, security taken away or control taken away or whatever that is probably a little more deep seated and in an area where you felt like you didn't have control. But so I was thinking about this idea of blame and I was thinking about the 5 stages of grief. And so the first stage of grief is usually denial. And then the second stage is anger. And so I guess kind of like my general query, my like thought bomb as it were, was like, does the idea of like seeking blame almost feed the anger stage of the 5 stages of grief? So it's almost like, so something bad happens, and as you are like processing it, as you are going through it, there is the need for blame to be assigned, whether that might be like by way of like lawsuit, social lawsuit, like who's coming out where at the end of this and why. Like, what is there is there like punishment, is there vindication, whatever the case may be. And with that, it almost feels like the longer that anybody does need to live inside of that space, and again, especially if there's like a lawsuit involved or something, like that can take a very long period of time, which might mean that you are literally like unable to continue to progress from the anger stage,
right,
and try to reach that like acceptance with what may have happened. And so the sort of like outward spiral version of this, I guess, if you will, is almost like by way of being stuck in the blame process of a lot of situations, like who was to blame, or like maybe even the idea of like unfinished business, like where something negative happened in high school, like we've talked about, like people from like years ago, and it's almost like if you ran into them, it's like the first thing on your mind is something that happened 12 years ago,
right? And
it's like, I never got to let that go because there was no, like, nothing ever really like came of it,
right?
And how much does that then inner turmoil affect so many other things? Like, do you see what I mean? Like, it feels like a compound very quickly.
I think I do see what you mean. Let's see. There was a lot of things there.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so
let me start with a question.
Okay.
Yeah. So just this to make it a little more simple. Do you think that blame can feed anger?
I think that anger makes you blame.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think blaming someone is like if you can just like, because let's see, where are we talking about? The 5 stages of grief, right?
Yes.
So I think one caveat with the 5 stages of grief is that it's always presented in like a very like denial, anger, bargaining, acceptance, depression, acceptance. Like it's presented in this like linear format. And this might be like the most common order for things to happen in, but it's not necessarily always directly in that order.
True.
And it's not necessarily always specifically linear, whereas like once you complete one stage, great, you've made it to the next stage, congratulations, you're past anger. Right. There is plenty of room to go back and forth and up and down and left and right and give right back to denial and then straight to anger and then to be depressed about it and then be like, oh, maybe it wasn't that bad, and then like you can go all over the place in it.
Sure.
So I think there's that, but I think the act of like needing to blame someone is fueled by anger, because it feels like if you can like put this, because assigning blame makes it someone else's fault, and then if you can like punish that person, then it feels like you can get closure on the situation. Right.
Yes, but I think that, and I think that that's the perception in a lot of ways. It's like, if someone could just be blamed and something can come from this, then I can move on.
Right. Okay. Okay. So that's your line of thought here.
That would be my,
correct.
Yeah, sure.
And is there too much of that?
Is there too much of that? Like, is there too much of an emphasis on the idea of this external blame versus the internal acceptance?
Yeah, I think so. I would bet that very often, even if you blame someone, and even if that person is punished, and even if it's in a way that you find satisfying, that you are still probably pretty hurt. Like, It's not necessarily that they did it, it's what was done is more the thing. And it's not like that person maybe doesn't deserve some sort of consequence or something, I think it's totally natural to like want to blame someone. But the greater issue is like what the actual harm was.
Sure.
I think is probably what it is. And I think I can never remember the exact wording on this, but it's something along the lines of like a wise man can like seize trouble or let's hold on. I'm gonna try and I'm going to find it real quick.
No worries.
Pause.
It feels like it will have more impact this way.
All right, here's my quotes. Good sense makes one slow to anger, and it is his glory to overlook an offense. That's one. The next one is, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. Yeah, those are my two. Those are my big ones.
Okay.
But those are from the Bible as well. I screenshotted those specifically. They were talking about them in church one day. I was like, this is exactly a thing I feel like is really speaking to me right now. I wish I could tell you the verses. I'm pretty sure they're Proverbs, if that helps at all. You can just look them up later.
There you go.
That doesn't have to make it mean more or less to you, but those are, I think it's true nonetheless, no matter what context you take it in.
Sure.
That good sense makes one slow to anger, and that it is in his glory to overlook an offense. It is just, which the main takeaway there is just like, whatever the offense was, you can decide to get hung up on that and try and blame someone for it, but it is much wiser to just try and like overlook it and like focus elsewhere.
So let me ask this question, because it might be a little more, it might be relatable at the very least. Is there an example, or could this be an example of a situation where you could be seeing somebody in like a romantic sense, and that person could cheat on you, and really, really, really strong like mental health would suggest that that there doesn't need to be like a myriad of emotional reactions, because the underlying like logic that you could like apply to this situation would be like, well, if this is the type of person who would cheat on me, then they're not the kind of person like I want to be with.
Right.
Whereas the typical, I think, emotional reaction in a lot of ways comes from this feeling of I'm not enough. Like, you know, in order to have made this person happy enough to not do this.
Right.
There's like a certain sense of rejection associated with it. But like if you could be mentally healthy enough, then it seems like even if you were like very romantically interested in this person, it seems like you could be able to see the logic involved. And I know that this is like emotions and love, and that makes things like very difficult.
Yeah. All's fair in love and war, right?
I'm fairly certain somebody just typed "love is fickle" somewhere in the chat, or just said it out loud in their car as they're driving about. But I think that as I had gone through like relationships and things like that, I used to very, very, very much struggle with like this thought, this problem. Like it felt like it happened to me like a fair handful of times.
Right. And like, despite being cheated upon, it didn't make you not want to be with the person.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. And because it's almost like the best thing that could possibly solve the situation is them coming back.
Right. Like it's like a class. I think that's the case of like most of your self-worth comes from this person liking you. Yeah. And if this person cheated on you, you are willing to overlook it because the alternative is that you have no self-worth.
Exactly. I think that's very well said. I think that's very well said.
I think it's like a what is it? It's like a -1 is still, I forget exactly. What am I trying to say here? Like a 1 is better than a 0 or something. Like that's not exactly right. It feels like a -1 is better than nothing. Like holding something negative is better than holding nothing, but that's not true.
Oh, right. Yeah. Yes. Like a negative thing is better than nothing.
Yeah,
I understand. Okay. But so yeah, like to go back to my point, it's almost like if mentally, emotionally stable, then can that almost like prevent you from the need to then assign the blame?
Okay. Well,
like, because if you're not angry, then you don't need to try to take the anger out of yourself and place it upon someone else. You know, like you don't need to like
when you say blame in this situation, are you saying like I blame you for what? For
making me feel negative.
Okay.
For hurting me.
Yeah.
damaging this relationship.
Right. Like you're saying, like the enlightened person would just recognize that this happened.
Yes. So the question would basically be, if we want to use enlightened person as the version of this, the enlightened person would be able to recognize that someone who would be willing to cheat on you is not someone who you want to date.
Right.
And therefore it's like, it's almost like, oh, okay, well, that settles that. Like, we are not supposed to be together because I don't want to be with someone who would cheat on me.
Right.
And being able to just walk away from that.
Right.
And I mean, I think that it would take a huge measure of self-worth for that to be the case.
Right.
But I think for many people, it may be the case that like there could be deal breakers, things that you don't want in a partner in life or whatever. But I would say that probably one that many of us would agree upon is not someone who will cheat on you. Like,
yeah.
Like if you put it in your dating profile, like I cheat constantly. It's like, oh, that's a deal breaker. You would never date the person beforehand if you knew that.
Right.
Like if it was just public information. But so then if it becomes public information, if you come to learn this information that this person is now someone who cheats, it's almost like, oh, okay, well, that's a deal breaker.
Well, if they cheat on you.
Is that not what I just said?
Oh, no, well, the way I heard it was that if you started dating someone and found out that they cheat a lot.
I'm sorry. No, yeah. Like what I was saying was before you ever were to date somebody, again, like if you were like on their dating profile and it came up and like the top thing about them is I cheat on people, it would be before you would ever even date them, you'd be like, oh, no. Like that, like this quality, deal breaker. I'm not interested in that at all. But so then how come it's also not true if you were to discover it like after the fact is what I'm saying. So it's almost like, oh, you're someone who cheats on people. In that case, it's a deal breaker anyway. Like I'm not interested in being with someone who cheats on people.
Right.
Like, so the real thing, the obvious difference here is the emotional attachment that certainly would have come from the betrayal involved.
Yeah.
Could be significant.
Well, it's such a weird question because at the same time, if you are like so unemotionally attached to the point where it's like, oh, well, I guess this just happened. Never mind. Like maybe I understand why they cheated on you.
Oh.
Like you could, maybe not like that, not that it justifies it, but maybe, do you see what I mean?
I do see what you mean.
Like if you're so detached from everything anyway, maybe you weren't very fun to be with, or maybe you weren't offering a lot in return in other ways. Not that makes it okay to cheat. Like you should still just like officially end something before you go. If like someone's,
Right. Yeah.
You guys get it.
Quality clarification.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, this would just be the question that I would throw out there is basically, and my thinking would be that if we can reduce the amount of blame that we put on the world, so it's almost like something negative happened, I need it to be someone else's fault. And in many cases, it very well could have been somebody else's fault.
Yeah.
Like direct neglect could have been the reason that this happened.
Well, honestly, the more you're saying that now, I'm not even sure this is a part of anger, if it's not more of a part of denial. Then,
interesting. Okay, give me that.
Like, like, so to the point where it's like, the main thing is that this wasn't my fault. Like, the main thing is that I'm not to blame.
Sure.
Which is like, that could be denial. Like, well, I didn't do anything. This is not, whose fault this wasn't? Mine.
Right. Well, and again, I think that there's probably a lot to be said for that as well. Like something negative happening and like recognizing how negative it is, and then also not wanting to have directly contributed to the negative thing happening.
Right.
So it's like, and there's probably a lot of that, because the more that it can be someone else's fault, the less that you might put it on yourself. Not that at any point in time it is your fault, but your brain sometimes can do its own things back at you.
Yeah.
Like where it might try to convince you that something that wasn't your fault was in fact your fault.
Oh yeah.
And at that rate.
Oh, you're right. You can go back to the cheating thing. This was my fault. You cheat on me. That's my fault. It's
right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. And so I guess what it comes down to though is like, are we taught to do this type of thing? Like this is the question. Like, is this something that's almost like become such the norm that when something happens, it's almost like we need to figure out whose fault it was, instead of instead of focusing on like, okay, like let's say my car was parked outside of my house and somebody ran into it. And instead of being upset with the person who ran into my new car, I am able to just be like, you know what? Like, they had their own problems. You know, like this was their irresponsibility. Like this is something I know they're going to have to deal with. They're going to be having their own struggles. Instead of being upset with them, let me start focusing on how to fix this. You know, like the emphasis isn't on whose fault it was. The emphasis is on finding resolution to it.
Right. I think that's definitely the healthier approach to most things. I do think there's probably a certain amount of like, I think probably what happens is blame is incentivized in many ways in like our culture, where like someone hits your car and it's super obviously their fault and they were texting and you have them on camera or something, you know, it's just like, it's like, you're right. Maybe like it's obviously their fault.
Right.
They are to blame. Like it is their fault this happened. That not because you blame them, just because that's true.
Right.
You know? And it's like, does that mean you need to file a crazy lawsuit against them and like score big? No, it doesn't mean you need to do that. But could you successfully do it? Probably. And would that benefit you in a very high financial way? Probably. You know? Right. And if that's the case, why wouldn't you?
Right. So
but the why wouldn't you is the answer.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I could see that.
Have we lost the thread?
Or
are you just spinning now?
I think my brain is like, it's like I have like so many different, like little movements going on up there. It's like, I wish you guys could see all the wheels. Many of them are turning.
Right, I can hear them. Yeah.
Okay, let me think here. Yes. Okay. So the thing I keep coming back to though is that if there is less of that all the time and always, it's almost like going back to like the Ted Lasso thing and like having that like positive interaction with somebody and how contagious that positive interaction can be.
Yeah.
And if we lessen the importance of the idea of blame in general and focus a lot more on how to come to terms with some type of despair, you know, like something negative that has happened to you, and putting more energy into how you're processing the actual impact of whatever happened as a result, versus trying to take all of the negativity and try to make sure, like, and see how much of it you can just take and place it on somebody else because it was in fact their fault.
Right.
So, and I guess the idea being like, it's like, could you make all things better in sort of like an outward spiral, because there was less blame here means that like as time goes on and other things happen in more situations, that there's like all around less blame and a greater sense of community.
Yes.
I
think so.
Okay.
I think it's probably better to not burden more people with negativity.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Well said.
There you go.
Why don't we end with a corny joke?
Oh, yeah. We'll just get back to nice and light.
Nice and light. Because I want everybody who's listening to go on and have a happy, jolly day.
Have a good chortle here at the end.
A good chortle, a safe weekend, a moment to think to yourself about like a really interesting, deep-seated thought that you want to submit to a certain popcorn culture podcast.
Yeah.
Because the host likes to talk about these things.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, I'm gonna go take that moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So corny joke. Here we go. This one is gonna come from Desiree Diaz, who says, "What do you call a shark with no teeth?"
Like, what do you call a shark with no teeth? Just like gums?
Close.
Oh?
Jaws.
Oh.
Do you get it?
With no, because then you're just jaws.
Because then you're just jaws.
Then you're just jaws, no teeth.
Yeah, exactly. But like a shark is also, there's a very famous shark called Jaws.
Yeah.
You may have heard of it before.
I've heard of him. Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies.
I'm aware. Yeah.
Very good movie.
That's why I picked this particular joke. I was like, I know Jay likes Jaws. This will be very fitting. Plus, it's summer.
Yeah.
It could be Shark Week.
Who's to say?
Who is to say, really?
Yeah, the Discovery Channel.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
They are the authorities on it. There you go. All right, guys. But otherwise, I think that's all we have for this week's episode of The Pop.
I think so. Just a reminder that this is the last week. The video portion of The Pop will be on the Super Carlin Brothers main channel.
Yes.
Next week, it will be on the Popcorn Culture YouTube channel, youtube.com/apopcast.
There you go. And if you would like to support us on Patreon, we have lots of cool perks where Jay and I record lots of additional content. You can check that out at patreon.com/popcornculture. Otherwise, you can submit any feedback you may have to me by emailing popcornculturepod@gmail.com. Otherwise, until next week,
Pop, pop.